Welcome to this week's American Acupuncture Council live Facebook podcast show. I'm your host for this week, Poney Chiang. I'm a continuing education provider and an adjunct professor at the York University's acupuncture program in Toronto, Canada. Today, my special guest is Dr. and Professor David Alimi, coming to us all the way from Paris, France. I'd like to begin with the background information about Dr. Alimi. He's a neurophysiologist and a chronobiologist by training. And since 1981, Professor Alimi has been interested in auriculotherapy under the leadership of his masters, which include Paul Nogier, René Bordial, and René Kovacs. Strongly encouraged by the latter, he is responsible for establishing the neurophysiological basis of auriculotherapy. 10 years of hard work and research were needed before he could finally formalize the neuroscientific basis of auriculotherapy. He's the head of the Department of Auriculotherapy at the Faculty of Medicine of Paris and has taught this discipline to doctors for over 15 years. In 2010, he received the Man of the Year Award in Medicine and Healthcare through his active scientific participation in more than 80 events. He is also an adjunct professor at the Pittsburgh School of Medicine and author of numerous scientific publications on auriculotherapy. He holds several management positions in numerous universities and hospital structures. In the year 2017, he finally was able to complete the publication of the first scientific work of auriculotherapy in his publication. And not only that, Dr. Alimi is also the founder of the International Institute of Scientific Medical Auriculotherapy, and he continues with his team to teach in many countries this discipline to all interested health professionals. It is a great honor for me to meet you, Dr. Alimi, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Welcome. I am very glad to hear you.
So let's get started. Would you please tell us how you got started in auricular medicine?
Yes. 30 years ago, at a professional meeting, two of my colleagues told me about the powers of the ear. It was amazing for me. They described to me some therapeutic success and advised me to join Dr. René Kovacs. I became one of his students and followed him constantly until he is dead in 1985. What had been a rift for me. He made me promise to take up the torch and continue to develop the scientific basis of auriculotherapy. He was a wonderful man, affable, full of humanity and modesty. He was above all steeped in science. He was fluent in several languages and had been one of the first to sense the neurophysiological nature of auriculotherapy. It is he who has given birth to this spark of neuroscience that has set my life on fire. Yes. This fire still burns in me and has since become the engine of my life. It is René Kovacs who impelled in me my life of researcher in neurosciences, which allowed me to build the neurophysiological foundation of auriculotherapy. I also benefited from the teachings of the great Paul Nogier, the rediscoverer of auriculotherapy. I remember him as a great scholar, a great intuitive, and a great observer. His work will remain in my mind forever.
If you wouldn't mind, could you spend a few minutes helping us paint a picture what is the state of auriculotherapy in France currently?
Yes, in France, auriculotherapy was driven in the 1950s by great predecessors, Paul Nogier, René Bourdiol, and René Kovacs, gradually settled in the practice of doctors who had the intelligence to be interested in the discipline. In 1998, I started my research in neuroscience in order to build the neurophysiological basis of auriculotherapy. At the same time, I was called by Professor Pierre Cornillot, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine of Paris, to start a university education of auriculotherapy. Thus, we had created the University Diploma of Auriculotherapy. Then, a few years later, the Inter-University Diploma of Auriculotherapy and the French Society of Auriculotherapy, which is called SOFA, and finally, the International Institute of Scientific Medical Auriculotherapy, which is called IIAMS, whose vocation is both scientific education and postgraduate development.
Would you please tell us what type of research have you been involved in and conducting in the field of auriculotherapy?
My first publication in 2002 brought to the world, for the first time, the scientific evidence of the neurophysiological connections between the ear and the brain. We had shown the correlation between the representation of the sound to the ear and its management by the cerebral somatotopic centers. In 2014, 3 studies were published at the same time. Those of the Italian Marco Romoli, who confirms, on the one hand, our results on the sound, and on the other hand, the neurophysiological correlations existing between the auricular representations of the brain stem and the brain. That was very important. That same year, 2014, I demonstrated the exact correspondence between the auricular representation of the knee and its somatotopic brain management. I conducted all these set of neurophysiological research to allow the entry of our discipline into the Faculty of Medicine, the creation of auriculotherapy consultations in most French university hospital centers, and hence the worldwide spread of scientific medical auriculotherapy. I think it is all scientific work that has permanently anchored auriculotherapy to the port of neuroscience, emphasizing that this discipline should remain in the realm of science. It's very important. Be reproducible and adhere to the rules of all controlled, randomized, serious studies published in peer-reviewed medical journals. That is, for me, an absolute condition. This makes it possible to remain rigorous and to reject any assertion that does not have its scientific demonstration and its reproducibility. For example, the Nodger's pulse, or VAS, is probably a notion that Paul Nogier has well acquired, but its scientific basis and especially its reproducibility has not been demonstrated. The cardiovascular basis for pulse variations with contextual homeostatic modifications have been known since René Le Riche, and I teach their neurophysiology to my students, but that is unrelated to what is called the Noger's pulse. This is why at the Faculty of Medicine and at the International Institute of Scientific Medical Auriculotherapy, we do not teach it. I wish to emphasize it is absolutely not essential to have the concept and practice of Noger's pulse for the diagnosis and auriculotherapy of patients who consult us. Correct understanding of neurophysiology alone is enough.
Thank you for that detailed explanation.
Thank you, Poney.
I was wondering if we can, if you wouldn't mind switching gears from more research to some of your own personal clinical experience. Are there any case stories or experiences of auriculotherapy that was particularly memorable to you? Something just off the top of your head that you didn't mind sharing with us today?
Yes, I have many, but one case, I remember a patient who came to consult me at the Gustave Roussy Hospital when I was director of the auriculotherapy consultation at the pain center, and who complained of constant, irrepressible anxiety that synchronized with his breathing, increasing with every expiration. It was very special. This anxiety has resisted all prescribed pharmacotherapies. It had started after a storm had collapsed the roof of their house, and a part of it had fallen on the bed where she slept with her husband.
Wow.
Very special. I had then proposed various anxiolytic auriculotherapies, analeptic, tranquilizing, and so, without any effect.
Okay.
Then, one day, she came to see me at the hospital, very dismayed, and told me that today is a wind day and my breathing becomes very difficult.
It's a very windy day. Okay.
Yes, wind day. I examined her, and any symptom, the clinic examination was absolutely normal. I therefore understood that she suffered from a pathology of limbic system, which is very frequent. She remembers the first element of her chain of pathologies. I then immediately treated the bronchopulmonary plexus in the ear, bilaterally. Okay. Her dyspnea stopped short and never reappeared.
Wow.
This is an example where neurophysiological reasoning has prevailed. Indeed, in all limbopathy, the first element of its memory chain corresponds to the organ expressing the symptom or the symptoms. Here, the lungs, and their treatment was enough to solve this clinical case.
That is a very remarkable example, especially given the fact that it was completely resistant to all pharmaceuticals, and the fact that you recognize that there was a psycho-emotional and limbic system, actually lymphatic system connection, and then targeted the bronchopulmonary plexus and just fixed it just like that. That just goes to show you how powerful understanding of the neurophysiology or neuroscience made the biggest difference in the world. I know this is a lifetime of work and it's a very complex subject, but we like to usually end with something that our fellow listeners or viewers can maybe start experimenting with auriculotherapy a little bit. So is there something simple? I know it may not always be possible, but something that is what, like your favorite point, maybe something that you have found to be very easy to apply and something you use often in your practice that you could share with us today, maybe?
Yes. Yes and no, because there is not really only one favorite point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that I will quote 3 points. The first is the sensory master point, SMP. It has a multiple representation. This point is in the center of the lobule.
Okay.
Exactly here, in the center of the lobule. This point has a multiple representation. First, the frontal parieto-temporal associative area, one of the main areas of general regulation of the human machine, synchronizing all inputs and outputs. Second, it represents the point of the eye, both physical, I see, and psychological, I look.
Wow, interesting.
Finally, it is the auricular zone allowing the tuning of the prevision of the supposed future of each of us. That is very important. And that is a point that we use very, very, very many nice, in many cases, in many pathologies.
And that's called the sensory master point?
Sensory master point.
Okay.
SMP.
Okay.
The second point is a point that my master, René Kovacs, called the cosmonaut point. This is the representation in the ear of the upper lumbar sympathetic ganglion, and which is located exactly here.
Mm-hmm.
At the top of the triangular fossa. Here.
Okay.
And about this point, we know neurophysiologically that it is the door of entrance of any stressful stream.
I see.
Thus, regulates stress, homeostasis, because of its orthosympathetic value, and thus regulates the neurovegetative balance. The third point is the auricular representation of the corpus callosum, which is located exactly here on the ear, at the base of the tragus.
Okay.
Here. This point is a very important point because it has many indications. It exerts a powerful action of synchronization of inter and intra-hemispheric tuning. It also regulates the postural tone and soothes the contractures of the corresponding side of the body. These three points allow the construction of an auriculotherapeutic strategy called triad of relaxation.
Okay.
Which has this triad of relaxation has so many indications that I often say to my students that if one day they do not know which strategy to do, they will never be wrong by giving their patient the relaxation triad.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm sure all of us are gonna try that as soon as we can. It's the points are all pretty clear from the camera, and it's pretty easy to locate these points. And I can't thank you enough for being so humble. Like sometimes we all don't know what to do, and somebody with your over 35 years of experience sometimes may not also know what to do. So thank you for your humility. Before we finish up today, will you be able to tell us where can we go to get more information? Suppose you want to study with you. Are there any books you can recommend? What are some possible resources you can share with us?
Okay, I will be very glad to teach to your all your students in Canada and all interesting people to hear from medical auriculotherapy, because this practice has many indications, and it's work very quickly, very strongly, without any adverse effect, without any adverse effect. And so we can do medical auriculotherapy for many people without side effects, and with a very quick result. But we need to understand the neurophysiological basis of pathology of patients. That is probably the most difficult of this practice of medical auriculotherapy, which is because we have not automatic strategy, we have not automatic program. No, we need to understand the neurophysiological basis of the pathology. If we know that, we had only to go to the keyboard of the ear and to send to the brain some message, some neurophysiological message in speaking the language of our brain, which is a neurophysiology. And so we are very working effect.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alimi. For those of you joining us, I will make sure that Dr. Alimi provides his website information and also an Amazon link to his publication so that you can do some self-guided studying. And but the take-home message for today is that protocols are great, but really the average person is just average person, right? And the average, we are not all created equal. So there are situations where if you truly understand the neurophysiology, then you will be able to cater your treatment to that individual. So it's no longer like a one-size-fits-all type of medicine, that you are able to diagnose the neurophysiological imbalance and create your own customized protocols for each individual. That is what certainly excites me about this system, and I'm looking forward to start studying with Dr. Alimi, hopefully in the very near future. Thank you all for joining us for today, and enjoy the rest of your day.